Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really going to get into what's been happening with Tesla. We've got a mix of news, their Q1 2025 earnings info, app updates, the whole lot. The idea is to cut through all the noise and give you a really clear picture of the big moves they're making right now. Self-driving, financials, what's next? Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, and what really jumps out immediately is just how much they're juggling. I mean, it's way more than just building EVs, right? You've got these big strides in autonomous driving. The software is always changing, manufacturing tweaks, battery tech. It's all happening at once.
Absolutely. And I guess the hottest topic is probably the autonomous driving part. Feels like things are really moving there. So Norway just gave the okay for Tesla's full self-driving FSD testing on public roads. That sounds like a pretty big step for Europe.
It really is. Norway's interesting because while they aren't EU, they often line up with EU rules. Plus, they're super forward on EVs anyway. So this approval, it could, set a kind of benchmark. Might make talks with other European regulators who've been maybe a bit more hesitant, a little easier. It shows Tesla's serious about tailoring FSD for different places, which is, well, it's complicated but totally necessary.
Right, tailoring it. And then back here in North America, they're bringing back FSD transfers. That's interesting for current owners. What's the strategy there, do you think? Just trying to get people to upgrade? Or is there more to it?
Probably a bit of both, really.
Yeah.
Offering transfers, yeah, it definitely nudges owners of older cars towards the new models with the latest kit. But it also gets more people using FSD, right? Which means more data for Tesla. And that data is gold for making the system better. The real question is, will all that extra data actually lead to big improvements we can see? And how fast?
Good point. Okay, let's zoom in on the Robotaxi stuff. We're hearing June 2025, Austin, Texas is the target. Starting with just, 10 to 20 Model Ys using the self-driving software. Starting small like that, what does that tell us?
Well, launching in one city, limited launch, lets them really hammer on the testing and gather data in a sort of controlled city environment. And using existing Model Ys first is interesting too. It suggests they think the current hardware with the new software is actually good enough for these early robotaxi runs. What'll be fascinating is seeing if it holds up,
Yeah.
Real-world ride-hailing, fully autonomous. Does the software-first approach really work in that scenario?
But the Model Y is just the start, isn't it? They're working on the dedicated vehicle, the Cybercab, production supposedly starting next year, a purpose-built autonomous car. How does that change things?
Oh, the Cybercab? That's the long game. It's a full commitment to autonomous transport. Designing it from scratch, no steering wheel maybe, means you can totally rethink the inside for passengers, build in specific safety stuff for autonomy, maybe integrate sensors better, more efficiently, and aiming for production next year, that signals they're really stepping on the gas with their autonomous plans.
And progress-wise, FSD unsupervised, they said it's hit 50,000 autonomous miles. Sounds like a lot. But, what's the context? How should we think about that number?
It's definitely a milestone, shows it's running without someone needing to constantly watch it. But yeah, context is everything. Were those miles mostly in easy mapped areas? What was the weather like? Traffic. Knowing that stuff will give us a much better sense of how big a deal this 50,000 miles is, especially compared to what competitors are doing.
Right, the details matter. We also heard about the software itself. FSD version 13 is apparently pushing the new hardware, HW4, pretty hard. And that's making people wonder if the older hardware, HW3, is maybe nearing the end of its useful life for FSD. What does that mean for people who bought FSD with HW3?
That's a really important point for owners. Look, as the tech gets better, you need beefier hardware, faster processors, better sensors. It's just how it goes. So if HW3 is potentially on the way out for future FSD features, it raises big questions. Will those owners get left behind? Will there be an upgrade path that's actually affordable?
And there was some chatter about the Cybercab maybe using structured light technology. Sounds complex. What is that and why would it be important?
Okay, so structured light, basically it projects patterns like grids of light onto the world. Then it sees how those patterns get bent or distorted by objects. Think of it like creating a super detailed 3D scan of everything around it. If they put that in the Cybercab, it could give really accurate, robust 3D vision. Might be better than cameras or radar in tricky situations like bad weather or weird lighting.
Looking even further out, Tesla's goal for vehicles to drive themselves to customers by the end of 2025. That's ambitious. What are the hurdles there beyond just getting FSD good enough?
Oh, tons of hurdles beyond the tech itself. You've got massive logistical issues, regulatory minefields. Think about insurance, who's liable if an empty car causes an accident. Then there are all the different state and local rules about autonomous cars. And can the car really handle every weird thing that might happen during that delivery trip safely? It's a huge tangle of tech, legal stuff, and operations.
And finally, on autonomy, the Q1 earnings call mentioned region-specific FSD training, especially for Europe, plus hints about FSD price hikes later, and maybe even unsupervised FSD becoming available for customers eventually. Sounds like they're setting the stage.
Exactly. That regional training is key. Driving in Paris is nothing like driving in LA, right? Different rules, road signs, driver behavior. FSD needs to understand those local nuances. And talking about price hikes and unsupervised access, yet suggests they're getting more confident in FSD's abilities and its value. Maybe positioning it as a real premium high-capability feature soon.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit, look at some of the more immediate stuff happening with the cars and the software. The 2025 spring update is out, lots of new features, seen some videos breaking it down. Anything major stand out?
Well, these updates are kind of Tesla's bread and butter for keeping things fresh, aren't they? They constantly tweak things, add entertainment features, improve the interface. It's all about refining that user experience based on feedback and what they're developing internally.
And we got the nitty-gritty too, right? App version 4.4, 4.0 release notes, software update 2025.14. It really shows how iterative they are.
Totally. It highlights how the car software, the phone app, the whole Tesla world, it's all tightly connected. That app is becoming more and more central, remote control, checking on your car, accessing features.
They also seem to be improving some practical things like tow mode and tire service features. Maybe not sexy features, but useful day-to-day.
Exactly. Stuff like that, it might not grab headlines, but it addresses real owner needs. It makes the car more useful, more user-friendly, shows attention to detail.
And on a lighter note, that Hollywood Diner thing, the in-car controls for the big screen turned on in a video, seems like a fun use of the screen, especially when you're charging.
Yeah, it shows they're thinking about the car as more than just transport. It's about the whole experience inside the cabin. Adding entertainment like that makes downtime, like waiting at a supercharger, a bit more pleasant.
They're also apparently trying to improve the delivery experience. That first impression matters a lot. Where can they make the biggest difference there?
Oh, a smooth delivery is huge. It builds confidence right away. Key things are, like clear communication beforehand, getting the paperwork done fast, a good walkthrough of the car's features, and fixing any little issues quickly. Just making it stress-free sets a positive tone from day one.
And one last tech point. They're swapping out the old CAN bus system for something new. Okay, for those of us not designing cars, why is that a big deal?
Right, so the CAN bus, it's been the standard way electronic parts in a car talk to each other for decades, like the car's internal network. But modern cars, especially EVs, packed with sensors for things like SSD, generate so much data. The old CAN bus just isn't fast enough anymore. It's becoming a bottleneck. Moving to a new system means much faster communication inside the car. That's critical for handling all the data from autonomous systems, enabling more advanced features, and just giving them more flexibility for future stuff. It's like upgrading the car's nervous system.
Okay, let's turn to the financials now. The Q1 2025 earnings, well, they showed a pretty big drop. Net income down 71%, revenue down 9%. Both missed what analysts expected. Those are serious numbers. Is it just about making fewer cars or price cuts, or are there bigger economic things, maybe more competition affecting them?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Yeah, production changes in pricing are part of it, for sure. But you also have to look at the wider economy. Interest rates, for example, make big purchases like cars more expensive for people. And the EV market itself is getting crowded. Lots more competition from legacy automakers and new players. That definitely puts pressure on Tesla's sales and maybe their ability to keep prices high. That 20% drop in just automotive revenue really highlights that pressure.
But interestingly, while cars were down, the energy division was way up, 67% increase. That's quite a contrast. What's fueling that?
Yeah, the energy side, solar, Powerwalls, Megapacks is doing really well. It's likely driven by a few things. Rising electricity costs, making solar attractive, government incentives maybe, and just more people wanting backup power or grid solutions. It's a good diversifier for them, helps balance out the ups and downs of the car market.
Still, overall gross margins fell too, down to 16.3%. That's a key measure of how profitable each sale is. What's squeezing the margins?
Probably a mix of things. Raw material costs might still be high. They're spending a lot on R&D and new factories, and maybe those price cuts they made to boost sales are eating into the profit per car. And that lower profitability, that's likely a big reason Wall Street reacted negatively and analysts cut their price targets for the stock.
Looking ahead at vehicles, that affordable model, the E41 or whatever they'll call it, delayed again. Late 2025 for the US, 2026 for China now. That's quite a wait. What do these delays tell us about the challenge of making a cheaper EV?
Well, repeated delays usually mean it's trickier than expected. Maybe hitting that low price point without cutting too many corners on quality or features is tough. But what's really interesting is the rumor they've scrapped the idea of a separate 25K car altogether and are focusing more on the Cybercab instead. That feels like a potential strategy shift, doesn't it? Maybe prioritizing autonomy over fighting in that lower-priced EV segment right now.
Meanwhile, over at Giga Texas, people spotted new castings. That always gets the rumor mill going about new models or big changes. What can we read into that?
New castings usually signal something significant is coming down the production line. Could be parts for a brand new vehicle, a major refresh of an existing one, or just big structural changes. Since Giga Texas is so central to their plans, seeing new stuff being made, there's always a clue about what's next in their product pipeline.
And it's not just cars. PepsiCo is building more chargers for their Tesla semis. That feels like real progress for electric trucks. What does that signal?
Yeah, Pepsi sticking with it and adding more chargers is a pretty strong vote of confidence in the electric semi for actual commercial use. It suggests they're seeing benefits, probably lower running costs, and hitting sustainability goals. It helps validate Tesla's move into the heavy-duty truck market.
We also got some battery insights from an interview with the head of their 4680 cell development. Sounds like they're still pushing hard on making those cells work better and cheaper. Why is that 4680 cell so crucial?
The 4680 is central to their long-term plan. It's a bigger cell design that Tesla thinks is the key to packing more energy into batteries, making them cheaper to build, and ultimately getting more range and better performance in their cars. Making progress on manufacturing those efficiently and at scale is vital for hitting their goals for cheaper EVs, longer range, and even for their big energy storage projects.
And for Tesla owners listening, apparently there's info out there now on checking battery health and understanding degradation. That's useful for any EV owner, really.
Absolutely. Knowing your battery's health impacts your range and what the car might be worth later. Having ways to track that gives owners more transparency and helps them plan.
Before the earnings call, we saw the top questions investors wanted answered. Gives you a sense of what the market is worried about or focused on. What do investors usually hone in on with Tesla?
Typically, for a company like Tesla, investors are watching things like revenue growth, profit margins, how much cash they have, progress on big bets like FSD, and when new models are actually coming out. So those highlighted questions likely revolved around those core areas, basically. Checking the pulse of the company's current health and future growth potential.
Tesla's also keeping drivers involved, right? Announcing supercharger vote winners for Q1, opening voting for Q2. It's an interesting way to crowdsource network planning.
Yeah, it's smart engagement. They get direct feedback on where people actually want chargers, what amenities they need. It helps them prioritize where to build next based on real user demand. Builds community, too.
And they even launched a platform for drivers to suggest features directly. That's a pretty open channel for feedback. How useful is that kind of input?
Well, direct user feedback is incredibly valuable. It gives them raw insights into what the people using the cars every day actually want or find annoying. It can lead to better designs, smarter features, and helps them focus their development efforts where it matters most to customers.
Okay, changing tack just a bit here. Elon Musk announced he's cutting back his time on that government efficiency project, DOGE, to spend more time on Tesla, starting this month. And this comes right after those lower profit numbers we talked about. Seems like a clear shift in focus at the very top. What's likely driving that?
Yeah, the timing is hard to ignore. Musk deciding to dedicate more time back to Tesla, especially after a tough quarter financially, signals a clear, renewed focus on the core business. It suggests he recognizes that Tesla needs his direct attention right now to navigate these challenges: competition, profitability, pushing FSD forward, getting new products out. It really underscores how much leadership focus can matter, especially during tricky periods.
So pulling it all together, it's clear Tesla's still pushing really hard on the autonomy side. You see it with the FSD testing expanding, the Robotaxi plans getting more concrete, and they're constantly tweaking the cars and software. But those recent financials show there are real challenges. Competition's heating up, margins are tighter. That seems to be forcing some changes, like delaying the cheaper car and doubling down on autonomy. How all that plays out, the tech push versus the financial reality, plus Musk's renewed focus, is going to be fascinating to watch through the rest of 2025.
Absolutely. It feels like a pivotal moment. They're balancing this incredibly ambitious tech vision against some tough market realities and financial pressures. The choices they make now, especially on autonomy versus affordable EVs, will really shape not just Tesla's future, but potentially the whole direction of personal transport.
So here's something to chew on. With Tesla hitting the accelerator on advanced autonomy while hitting pause on a more affordable EV, what does that really tell us about their main priorities right now and what their ultimate vision for how we'll all get around might be? Thanks for diving deep with us today.